Hi, I'm Josiah.
And I'm Colin.
And this is Worth Watching. Alright, so you sat through our intro, you sat through our theme song, you are now ready and looking forward to a review of the movie Prisoners. You're expecting a review, but
that's just about as satisfying as the ending of Prisoners.
Alright, so the movie we're going to be reviewing tonight is Prisoners.
Starring Hugh Jackman, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Paul Dano. Basic plot of the movie starts out, Hugh Jackman and his family walk over to their neighbor's house for a Thanksgiving dinner. Meanwhile, during dinner, the two daughters end up missing. A couple hours later, the family's searching for them. Next day starts, family calls the police. That's where Jake Gyllenhaal comes in as the leading detective heading the investigation. So, they find a suspect that they think may have been involved in the kidnapping. They end up releasing him. Hugh Jackman's not satisfied, as a caring father would be, and takes matters into his own hands. And the movie starts from there.
And thus we have our movie. So one of the very first things I want to talk about here is just the acting in the movie. Because, I mean,
phenomenal acting.
The acting is, across the board with all the lead actors, is fantastic. Hugh Jackman does a great job of being both an angry, determined father who's going to find his daughters.
Yeah.
He's just boiling over for about half the movie, and you're just terrified of him for most of the movie because he does such a convincing
And not Wolverine terrified. I mean, you're terrified of a real human being.
Yeah, this is a father who's angry that his daughter's been taken away, but he's also in a very fragile state because, little things can set him off, and there are moments where he just breaks down, and you really feel for him because he's just a really realistic character.
Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal is really great as sort of the frustrated detective trying to help solve the case and not getting anywhere. And meanwhile, Hugh Jackman's really not working with him because he doesn't feel, that Jake Gyllenhaal's really trying hard enough because he's not getting results because it's a long process.
Yeah. He's a father who wants results now, and Jake Gyllenhaal just wasn't giving him the results he thought were necessary.
Right, exactly. What about the pacing?
Most people are probably thinking, it's a 2.5-hour movie, it's probably long, drawn out. The pacing wasn't too bad. There was a dead spot right in the middle of the movie that probably could have just been 20 minutes shorter.
Yeah, the movie felt about half an hour too long.
Yeah, just about right there. Other than that,
yeah, pacing was pretty good all throughout.
Pacing was good.
In addition to that, you have a couple scenes in the movie that work really well and really show who the characters are and give a really great example of what's going on, where there's a scene where Hugh Jackman has kidnapped Paul Dano's character and he's torturing him for information, trying to desperately find out where his daughters are.
Yeah.
And Hugh Jackman's character is a very religious person through the movie. The movie opens with him saying the Our Father.
Yeah.
And later in this movie, he's just slumped against a wall trying to say the Our Father. And when he gets to the line about, as we forgive those who trespass against us, he can't get past that line. Because he is sitting slumped against the wall next to this person who he's just been torturing. And he's realizing that he can't get there because he's
that was
been
a
so
really powerful part.
Yeah, it's a powerful scene for his character. He acts it fantastically, all of it.
Yeah. One of the things I really liked was the tone of the movie. It was really powerful, emotional, very real feeling, and it was just, very deep, dark, and gritty.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really disturbing movie with the subject matter that it had, and different scenes in the movie were really hard to watch and hard to get through. And I think that works really well with what the movie is trying to say, with what the movie was trying to portray. I think that worked really well with the movie.
It did. It really did.
However, this movie had problems.
Big problems. A lot of the problems this movie had was loose ends. They opened up way too many doors and didn't finish them.
The writers wrote themselves into a corner at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
They had written all of these great setups for things and realized that they couldn't pay them all off, and that they had written themselves into this situation that just wasn't resolvable at the end of the movie, and so they just leave it.
Yeah. The ending just cuts off. There's no resolution. There's no answers to any questions you had. Don't get me wrong. I don't mind some movies that leave a couple loose ends.
Yeah, if they leave it up to interpretation, that's different.
That's not too bad. No, this was just blatantly almost ignored. Awful.
Yeah, it just... They copped out at about the last 5 minutes of the movie. It started kind of unraveling and not working too well with about the last 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But then you get to a point when you're thinking something's going to happen, and it just cuts off like some old TV serial.
There was a hospital scene when things like something was going to get really interesting. and then it didn't. They took some of the best actors in Hollywood and they destroyed the movie.
Yeah, there was no fault of the actors, no fault of the directors.
No.
It was really just the writers who wrote the movie into a corner and
Whoever
didn't
thought
wrap
of
up
the ending should be fired.
All right, so with all of that in mind, what would you give the movie on a rating of...
C. Definitely C. Because they screwed up.
They screwed up big time. I mean, the acting was A++, was phenomenal. Like,
Yeah.
it's some of the best acting I've seen in movies recently.
Acting A+, plot B,
Plot was,
plot twists B.
Loose
Rest of the
ends,
movie,
everything
C.
was D. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
the amount of loose ends, the ending, everything was just so disappointing with the
really
quality
was.
that built to the
It
point. I'm
really
going to have to
was.
give it a C as well. It's just... It was the reason I'm so mad about the movie was because it started off
It
so
had
strong
so much potential.
and just fell apart in the last 10 minutes of the movie,
Yeah.
and it was just so disappointing.
Yeah, if it didn't fall apart like that, it'd be an A. It'd be an A. Well, we hope you enjoyed this review. Sorry if we got a little out of hand with our ranting and raving, but watch the movie and you'll find out why.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week.
Have a good week.